Okay, to everyone who is going to see this, welcome. This is Interviews, sponsored by Tesoro. My name is Stacy Dyson. I am the founder and lead poet for Tesoro. I introduce all of our folks the very same way every time. I see no reason to kill tradition. Now, we are beyond blessed to have with us Laura Lilia, who is going to regale you, for the next 45 minutes or so with everything she is and the things that she writes and her opinions and all that other good stuff. So, before I get that started, just know that you can find out more about Tesoro at www.firesingers.com. So, I'm not going to bother to give a full blown bio. I never do. You tell us about yourself.
Yeah, I'm Laura Lilia. Um, I'm in Houston, and there's been an enormous amount of physical challenges that came upon me and rapidly excelled. And within that time, I spent a lot of time by myself. And I think that really is a highlight of me being aware of my conscience and how much of a storyteller it is. And so my poetry really sounds more like a stream of conscious at times. And I'm so excited to share.
Okay. So I will start this the same way I start all of these interviews, and you can interpret it whichever way you need to. Why poetry and why now?
Poetry has given me the opportunity to find how I express myself. It never gave me a box or a structure. It just says, just say it, put it out there. And now I feel like the directness is needed, and poetry brings that out along with other ways too.
Okay. What is, how do I say this? Your earliest memory of poetry, not necessarily something that you wrote, but your earliest memory of.
Yeah, third grade. It was definitely for me. That's where my understanding of, oh, this is different.
Okay. So what's the big dream for this,
Yeah.
for what you write?
A big vision of the bigger picture is to be able to give words on how I found how I could be seen for myself, because this is all a perspective I'm sharing. And I feel like, yeah, poetry gives me that outlet and understanding that we're more connected than divided.
Okay. If you weren't doing this, if you weren't poeting, what would you be doing?
Dancing,
Dance. Really? Okay. What
ballet,
sort of dance?
to be, yeah, to be specific, classical music, ballet, bar.
Is that something that you trained for, or just something that you aspire to, or?
I've trained. My earliest memories around third grade, I was in ballet. I took ballet tab, and eventually I was in band. I was very artistically gifted, and I like to move my body basically. So
Okay.
bar has always given me that structure, but also that freedom on finding how best your body wants to move at that certain time.
Okay. Talk to me about because I've, having read your book, um, you seem to use a lot of, what's the word I want? There's a lot of color, first of all, figurative color. And I know some people, I know I do, make a connect to color and sound, not light, color and sound. Talk to me about that connect for you.
Light and sound. It's honestly, we're visual creatures. I know. I feel like I love watching movies and I like visuals. But at the same time, there's this moment where I connected to meditation and it was there. It was just close your eyes and it's there. It's never leaving us. The sound, the lights, the format, and the freestyle. It's it's so beautiful to have had this depth in connection, and it's always been within us, within me. And I found that, and it's peaceful when I really sit in it. It's very peaceful.
Okay. So I promised you I wasn't going to ask you, to solve world hunger or anything. But let's talk about solving your hunger. I like to ask prosaic questions every now and again. Favorite food and favorite thing to drink.
Oh, right now I've been on this rise mushroom coffee. I have been making it different lately where I actually heat it up as a tea with just water and then pour just a little bit of almond milk and just swirl that around. And I don't know,
Uh-huh.
rise mushroom, which like seven different adaptogens
Really?
that keep you focused, help inflammation. Now I feel like a spokesperson. That is currently my drink of choice.
We,
And
we will send them this clip and see if we can get you a job.
I love it. Thank you. I'm such a fruit person. I've been on granola and fruit, and sometimes that's like all I eat in a day if I'm not so active. Like if I'm just computer whizzing. It is what it
Okay.
is. Yeah.
When you are in dream state,
Mhm.
and I say dream state specifically because some of us don't need to be asleep to be in dream state. When you are in dream state, is that a good thing for you? Bad, confusing? What goes on in that place?
I mean, with acknowledgement of it, it's beautiful. Without acknowledgement of it, it's chaotic and scary.
Ex- Expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm very aware of my daydreaming, my creativity, my ruminations, my anxieties, just this constant. And when I feel like I'm in control and I could do everything and solve everything, that's when things start breaking down. It's like, oh wait, I'm taking life too seriously.
Okay. When you're not in dreamscape, where is your favorite place to be?
Definitely thinking about writing a children's book. I've been
Okay.
I hang out a lot with little babies, and my work gets me connected through that. And I realize, hey man, it's the kids are going to continue. They're coming. Like nothing's stopping us. We really got to focus on what can we really do to make it better and make it better. And so I guess a children's book has been running in my mind.
Right. But aside from writing, just physically, where in the world, if you weren't in Texas, where in the world would you
No,
be?
I'm in space. I'm in the aurora borealis.
Can you can
I,
you can you narrow it down just a little tiny bit?
I am somewhere cold.
Somewhere cold? Are we
And
talking Siberia? Are we talking
oh,
about
nice. I'll take that.
downtown LA in the
No,
winter?
more like
You
normal,
know,
like I would even Alaska. Why not? I'm definitely such a sucker for sightseeing of the night skies. So I have not gone to Big
Okay.
Bend as of yet, and that's in Texas, and that's the Milky Way out there. So we'll see how
I have driven through the Texas Panhandle,
oh,
when stars were falling. When you get the meteor showers.
yeah.
It is, oh my goodness, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. So that's where my mind goes. Like, man, like, because I actually follow live accounts where they actually just stream live videos of what's going on. And I'm like, I don't want to be there. I'll bundle up just somehow there. So I guess that's my yeah, that's like my creative daydreaming escape world, I guess you would say.
Okay. So you've written the first book,
Mm.
which we would love to see a copy of if you can hold it up.
Yeah, I got it right here.
There we go. Um, so is there a second book on the way?
Well, that's what it will be. The second one will be an adaptation to children's books. So there will
Oh,
be the theme of leaves, but it will be different. And
okay.
yeah,
And what about something outside of poetry? Are you considering prose? Are you considering short stories, a novel, a play, any of that?
I've always doodled and continuously write journal and prose and essays. That's kind of my strength. So what I
Okay.
like to do just on freestyle, like, well, now that's an essay, you know. And
Okay.
and apart from that, I mean, I also like doing crafts. So right now, I'm actually in this middle of a project of um, encapsulating leaves, kind of like drying them between books and stuff. So
Okay.
just doing some old school stuff that I remember when I was a kid. I was like, that looks pretty cool. And now I'm doing it still as an adult.
Okay. Talk to me about music. What do you listen to? Who do you listen to?
Oh my! Right now, currently, still,
Mhm.
that's the band, and they actually got their title by a Robert Frost poem. And so it's just so beautiful. But no, Still Corners is my jam right now. I grew up on a lot of rock when I was younger, so I am a like 80s rock baby, but I do
Okay.
appreciate the 70s and 80s rock a lot. Um, and classical music. Honestly, this book was written with a lot of piano. There's this guy that I envy him so much. He lives out near a beautiful cold place where he has beautiful sights of the world at night. And I always forget his name because it's so hard to pronounce. Lombard Merrick or something like that. But he's a he's a pianist, but he's a continuous playing pianist. And it's this
I think I know who you're talking about.
oh, I hope
And I
you
think I've seen this person perform, and yeah, it is quite something.
yeah. So I get lost in his world, whatever, whenever he drops stuff, like it's amazing. And his collaborations are amazing. And I actually found him off of a show with Kate Winslet in it. It's like East End of Mora or something like that. But anywho, but yeah, classical music. That's my jam overall. So
Okay. Bach, Beethoven, Mozart, Vivaldi,
yeah,
Chopin.
even the cellos. I mean, that's kind of what I've been listening to some local. There's this group called 88 here out in Houston, and they do
Mhm.
good, and their cellos are amazing. I don't know them personally, but I've seen them, and it's amazing to be around just creative people, just in your own state. You really don't.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, so now that we know a soupçon about who you are and the way you roll. You have the next 30 minutes to just do you, boo. Go ahead and dazzle us.
Thank you, Stacey. I want to start off with a piece that I actually wrote a year ago. And it starts off with a headline from the Houston Chronicle newspaper. Texas Children's ER sees 800% spike in kids with mental health crisis like suicide thoughts. The number of children turning in the emergency room with mental health crisis at Texas Children's Hospital has skyrocketed to 800% since before the pandemic. According to the hospital, reflecting a national trend. In 2019, the hospital system was 3 emergency centers in Houston typically saw fewer than 50 kids per month seeking help for behavioral health crisis, said Dr. Price, and their chief of psychology out in Texas Children's. So I wrote a piece titled Hold Our Youth Tightly with Love. Walking barefoot on dew grass, I burn incense while watching magic flow between trees. I admire the sky when the moon and the sun share its stretch of blue, looking so sci-fi to me. Eventually, clouds depart from one another, and I see it all clearly now. All of me, all of you, all of us in contrast. It's never just all dark, and it's never just all light. It's a new age where crisis is raging one more time, also too commonly accepted. The news casually report averages beyond capacity to comprehend. In paramedics, hectic orders never cease to end, overflowing with prescriptions ready for pickup for all ages to consume. Aren't we seeing how new idols are killing our youth with false temporary gains and goals with no ends? As grandparents are left off to only lean into prayer for them all, never giving up hope, and learning to adapt, as change is the only thing constant. But has anyone ever asked where we are going? It has been said before that our scientists were so preoccupied whether it would be or not that they could, but they actually didn't stop to think if they should. Our social media curses our youth in numbing stimulation, blinding, consuming self-destruction by streams of posts. To compare with contrast outward views, and to compare material gains, while to compare what we think what we should be. The rise of this will reach a peak. At this rate, it's best to be seeing this through as we are already steady streaming along, holding on to what we've held on to as normal for far too long, while our palms of our hands bleed desperately to let go. We are to be ever too so evolved, but is it to truly unite? Within my silence, I found my depths that hide in dark shadows. I didn't know how to confront them all at once. I learned I had to take my time with each of them, one by one, peeling them each off just like an onion. It wouldn't be the same for you nor to the one next to you. But I hope you figure out soon enough, because while I soaked in rage and despair, I have found the courage to accept my shadow, as it will never truly leave me. I only get better at assessing it as it comes along. I look back to before now and as I am today, and I can confidently say that you also have the capacity to understand all of your contrasts too. Roadkill. A psychic once told me, manda corazones y sigue mandando corazones. But wait, no, look. Let me translate just a little bit for my non-Spanish speakers before you tune me out. I said, a psychic once told me to send hearts and to keep sending hearts. Yeah, I didn't get it either, so let me try to be a little clear and disclose a little bit more before I really get into it. You see, lately my mind has been scattered and splattered, just like the blood found on the concrete street you drove over on your way home this afternoon. I catch myself overthinking about how that blood even made it on those streets. Was it a hit and run? Was it an animal or a person? Shoot, all I know is that no matter what side of town I'm in these days, if I just drive a little further in, I'll see a homeless person finding a way to get comfortable to lay down to sleep on the same streets decomposing animals are being left behind. They might be there for days before they're even picked up, but no, at least they're being picked up, because now the homeless, no, they're left there exactly where they are and handed a nickel as if it is by their choice that they want to be there. So I've been on this new road called sobriety, because since I was a teen, doctors have been giving me handouts of endless pills that got me hooked on feeling numb. By the time I was already an adult, I figured, sure, going to bars right after work is what adults are supposed to do. It just happened to be that I had already developed a higher tolerance to those around me. And at times, my tolerance seemed to be different every other night. As some nights, I would remember every detail, while other nights, I didn't even know how I made it home alive. And in those moments where those every details, where I've caught myself counting as many altars as I seen on the side roads, in the mediums between two-way roads, and even the altars found on highway barriers. Because ain't it something? I mean, family members risk their own lives crossing highway lanes just to build an altar right where their loved ones took their last breath. It can't be me who noticed altars being more commonly built outside of graveyards these days. It's as if to pay a tribute to a possible attempt for a loved one to feel a sense of peace for their departure. It's as if somehow standing as close to possibly where their heart beated for the last time might be some monumental movement towards closure. But I gotta guess it must hurt like hell. It must break their heart to know that that's where they were left to die alone. It's a beautiful world with such a madness vibe covering over like an umbrella with holes. Then no, wait, look. Yeah, that sounds a bit pessimistic, but please let me disclose a little bit more on where I'm coming from. I'm still grieving. I'm still grieving that half of us didn't make it past 2020. I'm still grieving every time I hear my best friend talk about how much she misses her mom and dad. I'm still grieving over the tragic stories my boss can speak about with years of running a homeless shelter. I'm still grieving parts of myself because of unfavorable circumstances I had to face. I'm still grieving because the news will never line up about how fearful it is to truly be alive right now, while my mother just looks it all up. I'm still grieving every time I get out of my own neighborhood to see that altar that has been built on the median where I turn left on my way to work every morning. They keep his picture there day after day. I look at that vato, and I don't even know him personally, but I can't help catch sight of his eyes in that picture and understand that those eyes no longer carry light like my eyes carry light right now, and that somewhere his family is still grieving too. While people just keep passing it by day in and day out, rushing to get to their destination, to probably rush even more once on arrival, all to keep rushing in and rushing out, doing the same thing over and over again to somehow keep sustaining their place in this competitive world that's racing all in the same end. And we're not taking anything, nothing we materially have gained during our time here. Then, of course, suicide is up in the ratings within our youth because that's why these kids find it hard to see a reason to why even bother to be here. Why our culture glorifies material gain, but yet we are all to end up underground with nothing to take us. So I don't blame them to even ask why. Why do I even try? Look, I've been working really hard on figuring out how to forgive myself for all the times I catch a cycle of guilt and shame going overdrive in my mind. Looking back, sometimes I feel like I knew I should have been doing better and taking better care of the opportunities I had in my past. But somehow, no way, like I know exactly how I've been getting better at forgiving myself. I've learned how to unravel and unfold myself and surrender to God. It's been going like this. I hear passages being preached at church. I hear stories shared in safe spaces by others who are trying to heal too. I read and reread passages from the Bible until I see it play out in real time. I figured out it feels too how to actually truly scoot over and let God take the wheel. I've learned that crying in stillness is more healing than running miles with no end. I've sat down fidgeting until I've sat still within my body and accept every inch of what I have done in my past. Knowing now that I have given moment, I was doing the best I can. And God knew that whatever I found myself in, I was more capable of overcoming it, even without having a logical viewpoint of it all. All I had to do along was to surrender in pure faith, humbly accept He knows more than I do. To give Him all my pain and pick up the wisdom He so graciously have gifted for His glory. That's the redirection we need. It's not an outsourced destination. It's an internal excavation we need to intentionally try over and over again. While yes, we will fail several times in the beginning, but don't let that stop you to keep trying and pick up what you learned from your failures to try again, now with more strength. I hope if you take anything home from this, take this understanding that you will pass up altars and roadkill of all sorts on our roads. And the difference between you and them is that you're alive right now. I was so grateful to see my book come out, and I was in New Mexico. New Mexico really treated me really well. I want to read some poems from my book. And they're mostly just the chapter prelude, I guess. That's kind of what I like to call them. Bit of a description to what you're about to tackle or get into. 1, stay organized in your chaos. While in the middle of all of it, somehow, after fidgeting and squirming in pain, I found out if I give myself enough time to sink into my skin while listening for the silence around me and accept in just being, I soon got to notice it takes a lot of work with what seems like doing nothing at all. Next one's titled 2, The Love I Accepted to Receive. You've managed to have a hold over me that I don't think you understand how much of a big deal it is. I may forget what you said, I may forget what you did, but I will never forget how you made me feel. And 3, 1 is not the loneliest number. An idle mind is a devil's workshop. Sure. Let's even say I met the devil himself. I smiled to him and even laughed at his plans until I got caught dangling upside down from his tight grip around my left ankle. And at that moment, I found out even he is looking for some compassion. So I cried out to God. Okay, I'm done here. You can take me away now. I'll keep my eyes closed until you do. Neither of them came. I spent enough time submerged in awareness of both. While spending all that time in it, my vision focused in profoundly, and I saw past the veil. Then at that point, I had a choice to make. Do I continue to sit in this internal monologue, or do I dare go out into this world and speak up about my experience? This was titled Stoic Times. Appearing to me, I've been muted by moments in the past that I didn't fully understand. Stacking one on top of another, tensing up, so impassive, I've forgotten how to breathe yet again. I catch my rhythm with my lungs, only to collapse on my knees once I came to understand. It wasn't what was not understood by the moments in the past. It was what I had left behind unsaid during those moments that haunt me now, and it was never to be anything less than me. So to reevaluate, the storm will pass, the cut down tree will regrow somehow, and the sun is endlessly rising and falling across the world. So your fortitude stays steady, surprisingly, on the days that seem the hardest. You are a blessing all on your own. For that reason, know all good things take time. Just the same, take note of the extraordinary top 4 atoms listed below: hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, nitrogen, as they are all found within me, within you, and are the same found within this universe, all roaming around simultaneously, meditatively as a prayer. In my view, the coloring of the drawings that run off the pages, they run off to find stillness from the constructive madness. And soon enough, finding answers in unknown spaces by lending an encouraging ear, inspiring to move forward after the gold settles in the Kingsui. I don't know if I have more time.
You've got 7 minutes left.
Okay. I got these two. January 24th. Every order was with intentional roaming around, emotionally blind, far away from clear and direct. It's a poet's mind that wants to wander off too curiously into dark corridors, all to find endless trap doors. But with God, all is never alone. Days of rebirth can take place at any given moment and anywhere. A rebirth to feel every stretch to every pull from end to end over and over again, as the hard lessons are always the ones with the most simple signs that will lead you out of hell. This one's titled Judge. I caught myself doing that thing I do again. Stumbled into doing something, moving without intention, knowing I have an idea, but honestly, I'm not seeing it come out like I desire it to be. Maybe I'll stumble enough in the right direction to somehow I get lucky and maybe get some guidance. But me, no, I have no clue what I'm doing. All I know is I hope I look pretty enough for him to see me doing it, and maybe I get the validation I crave so much. Because me, oh, no, the judge in me will never line up and compliment me. There is no end to the criticism once opening those thoughts up. Those thoughts have even learned how to recycle past judgment and polish them up all as new. So, after the beatings I've taken that caused internal bleeding, all while racing thoughts have cycled over and over again, I finally did it. And I gave in to my inner judge. Sure, run my name through dirt, as I am no longer human. I am a seed. And I've learned a seed has to totally destroy itself in order to become a flower. And I got my last one. To celebrate with you is to take away all that is in between us and put it aside. Turn off the TV, turn off the music, turn off our phones, and take away the silverware. Take away the plates and just leave the kitchen alone. To come together with no agenda, no bottle waiting for us to indulge, sober and without desire to taste temporary satisfaction. To celebrate with you is to bring your energy to the table, your energy that resides with the joys and challenges you currently face. To come with only your breath intact as you are and nothing, or with everything of this world weighing on you. To celebrate with you is to see that we are already enough universe as we are individuals. That, I think.
Thank you, honey. That was lovely. It really was. I am going to unmute folks. Y'all, if you want to open up your mics, throw this lady some roses, or run them up on the screen since we have that handy little app.
Thank you, Erica and Edward. I see y'all now on the chat. Well, on the participants, but yeah. Oh, I'm so grateful for.
Can you tell us, before we sign out, can you tell us where to find the book, where to find you? And you can put that in the chat as well, if you would.
Yeah, you can find me anywhere basically as Laura Lila. That's Lilia. And on Instagram, also, where else? I'm on SoundCloud with my book. You can also buy it at readergreenbooks.com. They have their website too. You can also buy the book from me. So just hitting me up on social media, Facebook, Laura Lila is the same. And it's also the same little picture with the sunrise behind me. And yeah, I think that's pretty simple. I mean, I'm not hard to find. Yeah. And I'll put in the chat to see for where y'all can find me later.
Because like I said, this will be going onto our YouTube channel. So, there will be other folks who will fall across it, who will look it up, and we need to know where we can get a hold of you.
Yeah.
So to everyone who came, to everyone who's going to see this, thank you so much. We'll be doing this all the way until the close of our season, the Thursday before Thanksgiving. There will be more of these Aperitif concerts. You can also check out our website, www.firesingers.com, to find out the time and space for our open mics. We have Pen and Sword, which is our general open mic, so y'all come. We also have Woman Heart, which is our woman identifying only open mic. So, because time zones are just ridiculous and nobody ever gets them right, I won't say have a good rest of the day or the night, because I don't know where you are watching this. I will just say, first of all, thank you so much, Laura. That was just incandescently beautiful. I love hearing your work. Everyone else, be safe, be careful, don't forget to vote. And we will see you somewhere around the way. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
You're welcome, sweetie. Good to see you.
Yeah, thank you.